Morning.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. Good morning.
Good, good.
Hello.
Good morning.
All right, thank you for joining me this morning. And the meeting is already recording, and I'm going to share my screen and get started. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put those in the chat box, and towards the end, that's when I'll start reading those off, okay? All right, in the meantime, everyone go on mute, and I will start going down the email. Now, for the first time, Beatrice is joining us. She's in Denmark right now. I announced her in the team, but she's on with us today. Thank you, Beatrice, for taking out the time to be with us this morning. And yeah, you could say hi to everyone.
Hi to everyone.
So she's working in the social media department. And so she's never been on our meetings before. So I'm going to go through and you'll get it. It's pretty much me going over announcements and then take Q&A and then I send you everything afterwards. So let's see. Let me make sure that I let everyone in first. Okay. Right, Ali. And let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let me see. Hold on, it's saying, I think it's saying someone else is coming in. Okay, no. All right, so we're gonna start with the Mission Monday email. Let me see if I can make this bigger. All right. Can I do this to scroll or what? Okay, I see. I think I'm, sorry guys, the scroll bar disappears once I, okay, we're gonna go back to the smaller view because at least I can see what I'm doing on the control end. All right. Okay, so Mission Mondays, we're gonna start with the prospects. So behind the scenes while you guys are doing your thing, I'm talking to new prospects throughout the week and on the weekends. So here's some info on a few of them. So Catchit.io is an e-com alternative that reduces cost of drop shipping for small brands. Okay, so I had my first consult with them. Han was on and was asking some questions. And so we're basically waiting for them to make the next move. Fully Enrich, haven't had a consult with them, but it's basically an African nutrition brand aiming to educate the mass public about the benefits of African foods. Prep Talk. Prep Talk is a life hack subscription brand which aims to demystify life hacks for practical application. So just to make that understandable, it's kind of like on YouTube, you'll see life hack videos, and the life hack videos are highly produced and not under the conditions of a normal person's home, which means that when you actually try to reproduce or recreate the life hack, many times it doesn't go the same. It actually doesn't work for you because you don't have all of the things that they're using in the production of that video. For some reason, Prep Talk feels like there needs to be I don't know, maybe another YouTube channel that explains how to really do life hacks and how to do them under the real conditions of a typical home. So I'm still trying to understand exactly where they're trying to go with that. So we'll see if we'll have a consult coming up with them soon. Mango. Mango is a STEM unschooling learning method or approach seeking to spread from middle school to high schools internationally. So this is an Indian-based STEM unschooling. And if you're not familiar with unschooling, it's sort of like homeschooling, but less conventional even than homeschooling is. So it's kind of like they're teaching STEM classes to kids like outside of the classroom, and sort of like having adventures and field trips outdoors, but it's STEM associated. And they have lecturers come in and real life professionals come in and teach the kids. So it's really a cool thing they're doing. And they're trying to spread it to the US. And so I have a meeting coming up with them Thursday, I believe at 2:15. And for all of these, if you're interested on being on one of the consults, just let me know. Finally, Hilaria is a marketing company offering a variety of both inbound and outbound marketing solutions. So all of these people come from all over the world. Most of these people are not from the US. This one is somewhere in Africa. I forgot where it was. And it's really similar to the way LeBeau Productions was pre-COVID. And so he's basically kind of one step behind us. And he needs to learn how to get from where he is kind of to where we are. So that's what he has going on, because it's really just him by himself. So this week's LinkedIn challenge, last week was about spicing up your headline. This week is align your LinkedIn profile to what you want people to know about you. A lack of evidence causes doubt. Proof leads to trust. You are in control of your online perception. That last line, you are in control of your online perception, is what I learned from a politician. So I've had many different types of mentors over my life. And once I was mentored by a famous politician. And he mentored me and told me like the real deal behind politics, and your mind would be blown if you knew. But one of the things he taught me was how to create an online presence that aligns with what I want people to believe about me. So you actually may not be aware that you are in control of what people think about you once they Google you. And if you start taking control of those mediums and making sure that if someone Googles your name, like what are they seeing? Are they seeing the things that you want them to see, or are they seeing things you don't want them to see? And let me give you an example. For instance, I was in a group, a Facebook group. It's kind of like an Oculus group, and I was doing research on the Oculus because I'm working with Facebook on the Oculus right now. And I was asking questions, and when I told them why I was asking, they didn't believe me. They didn't believe I was working with Facebook. So do you know that these jerks went and Googled me, and they were trying to find out, you know, who I am and all of these things. And they're like, oh, you know, I see Facebook on your LinkedIn, but you're just a consultant and you don't work for them. And they were just like, basically, because I didn't have a bunch of Facebook stuff on my LinkedIn, they were suspicious of me, right? First of all, I don't even put all of the companies I've ever worked for on my LinkedIn. I kind of make my LinkedIn niche to what I'm doing at the time. So I kind of hide other things I've done and companies and things like that, especially because in marketing, you work with different companies all the time, big and small. So it's not really a big deal if you're working for, you know, Google one day, Coke one day, Pepsi another. It doesn't really matter. But the point I want you to know is that people are checking your LinkedIn. And if you don't put on there the things that you've done and your accomplishments and all of that, they're going to say, well, you don't seem qualified to do this, you know. and you don't know who's going to be looking at it, and they have say over whether you get a position or whatever. So just be mindful of that. And the reason why he told me is to take control of my online perception is because I was looking, he really wanted me to run for some type of office, local office. And I told him, hey, you know, there's all of these other local politicians and they have this great bio and I don't. At the time I didn't. This was about 10 years ago. And he said, you know why their bios look that way? Because they paid someone to write it like that. They made themselves look huge just so someone like you would come and read it and think that they're a big deal. But you can also do the same thing. So just don't lie, but you can really like shine. Don't be too shy to really put your accomplishments out there. All right, so news. It's time to strategize the MarTech U student organization. So if you remember from last week, I was telling you guys that we're starting a student organization starting with TCC. Typically, you need to have a student on at the school to kind of start it. We have Dr. T, so we don't really need to go through the conventional methods because he's kind of our way into doing that anyway. But I would like to see if there's any students there who are interested in helping us facilitate this. But I do want to have you guys, I don't really need a lot, but maybe one or two other people who are interested in getting our organization started and, you know, get moving. Team updates. The Cookie Crave has its first consult coming up Tuesday, the 8th at 11 a.m. CST. So join if you have interest. Coordinate with Erica to consult with CompuLabs this week. We haven't talked a lot about them, but they're basically waiting on us to make the next move. So just need to get with Erica. Lencho's consult is Wednesday the 9th at 6:30 p.m. CST. So important issues. Our consult goals were met last week. We had a goal of 4 consults and we accomplished that. Let me let Arushi in. There we go. So what I want you to do this week though, is to learn how to conduct these consults without me. So some of you have been on, you've seen how I do consults, and we're going to learn more about that. But this is what your challenge is this week, is to learn how to feel comfortable with talking to these clients on your own now. Because when I introduce you guys, okay, you're introduced. Now it's time for you to kind of take the reins and go ahead and start working with them. Strategy meetings can commence. So now that the first week has allowed you to get familiar with our projects, you can now begin having meetings to strategize your plans on reaching the client's goals. So now that you've been introduced, you guys can start getting together with each other and brainstorming. Now we start doing the real work, putting your ideas out there, and I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. Training. So the business development training meeting. All business development specialists are required to schedule with Locke to have a training on consultations this week. And I'm leaving it up to Locke on how he wants to conduct that training. But I do have one thing you can use, and maybe Locke, you want to use this somehow. Last semester, one of the first consults we did together was the brand equity consult. Brand equity is the company or partner company my sister is a co-founder with. It is a New Orleans-based marketing agency. And so we did a consult with them. So there's a few videos of that, and I'm going to link those in the email that I send out to everyone. Everyone is required to watch the brand equity consult, then write at least a paragraph about what you learned about our consulting flow. So just write what you learned, send it to Erica. She'll put it all in a folder for me to look at later. But The reason why everybody, not just the business development specialists, need to look at that brand equity video is because sometimes we have consultants on the call that aren't business development specialists. And you guys kind of need to understand the flow so that you're not nervous or like, how is this supposed to go? You're not in the dark. You'll see, and then you'll become a little bit more comfortable. Guys, throughout this entire thing, one of the things I need you to quickly get familiarized with is consults. This is going to someday determine whether you get a promotion or not, whether you get the contract or not. I think that you all are brilliant. Unfortunately, one of the things that you have to have is presence. And when I tell you I can't tell you how important that is. I can't stress to you enough. There are people who are not able to go into the boardroom simply because they cannot pitch confidently and make presentations confidently. I've seen and heard of people losing a contract that they qualified for, and they had the vision and they could do everything, but they just didn't want to use that person because their presence in the boardroom is not confident. They don't present well. They can't speak up. And this is one of the things I hope to help you overcome in this internship. Okay, so week 2 task, skip anything that you've done already. So this is kind of just like the framework of that big project I have you working on as far as consults and understanding consults. Okay, meetings. Coordinate team meetings with your teammates. So if you're on a team, now you guys start scheduling to meet with each other and brainstorm your ideas and create timelines for the things you want to do for that company. Strategize and brainstorm during your meetings and contribute to strategizing a plan. Document. Each team needs to elect someone to create a shared document for everyone to edit. So even while you're having the meeting, you can set up a document real fast and someone share their screen and one person is just like typing in everything that everyone's saying, or everyone has access and they can go in and edit it. That's how it's getting done. I'm just saying, like, you know, with other companies, this is what they're doing. Just go ahead and document everything while they're on the call. Visualize. One person is elected to begin presentation slides and everyone can edit it. So basically one person basically is the lead and they go on Google Slides or PowerPoint or whatever it is that you want to use, at least start like a basic presentation slide, and then everyone who's going to do their stuff, they put in the part that they're working on. And when you watch the brand equity video, you'll actually see what that looks like, and then it'll become clear, because I know that the way I'm explaining it is not doing justice to really showing you what that looks like. So this is why you should watch that video. Okay, approval. So once you're done with your proposal, this is basically your first draft of what we're going to bring back to the client. And sorry, someone's calling. Bring back to the client and say, okay, this is what the team came up with. This is the timeline they came up with, their ideas, and is this okay with you? What do we need to change? This is basically like what that is for them. And when you finish that, send it to me, and that way I can give you my notes on what I think. Okay. So important information you can use. All right, so one of the things that I want you guys doing is a 2-person team practice. Sometime during this week, I want you to pair up with someone. And if you have to be 2 to 3, that's fine. But basically what you're doing is practicing talking to each other about the company. One person can ask questions. It's basically role play, okay? This doesn't have to be long. It can be like you just having a mock conversation with a potential client. That's what the other person is pretending to be. and you're explaining or giving your elevator pitch about what LeBeau Labs is. You could create a scenario. That person can say, okay, I'm a business owner that just started a year ago, and I have a software company, and that's it. And then that person pretends to talk to that person the way they would if you were really that person, right? So the purpose of this is to get you comfortable with saying what the company does. The more you say it, is the easier it is to say. You find your own way to say it quickly and effectively, more concise. And then, it's just a breeze. So these are the three things you want to keep in mind. Introduce, inform, excite. That's all you're doing in that conversation when you first talk to somebody about LeBeau Labs. You want to sound like you're a fan that's talking about maybe your favorite show, because that excitement part is the part that'll put a little fire in them to spark that curiosity, to make them a little thirsty or curious to know, like, okay, dude, let me go and check this out and see what they're all about. So I'm not asking you to lie, but find something that you are excited about with our company and just like sell that. When I was selling Google Nest products, I sold a lot of those, what were they? The Google Hub, the Google Nest Mini, the little speaker, and all of their little products, because I was so excited about, the thermostat they had, the smart door lock they had, and all the little things. I really loved it. And so when I was talking to people, they got excited about it because I was coming from a place of honesty. So whatever you love about our company, that is what you put forth. So introduce, this is who they are. This is the type of thing they can do. And then you say the part that you really like, and boom, that's it. Just walk away and just give them, whatever information. But you want to do that to practice. Now, as you're doing these things, collect questions. Maybe when you're doing that mock conversation with each other, that person, that fake customer you're pretending to be, has a question, and the other person doesn't know what the answer is. Write those questions down, send them to Erica. She'll put it in something like one big document for me. And that way I'll know what I need to talk to you guys about, because I'll find out what the team still has questions on. Okay, let's see. Now, whenever you think about a marketing agency, most people think about, design, they think about websites, they think about e-com, they think about app development and things like that. But we do more than that. We kind of have a business analytics or business intelligence side to the way that we approach business and marketing. So some of our objectives that you need to be aware of when we're dealing with companies is not just on the surface marketing. We're also talking about increasing profits, decreasing their cost, improving their customer service, improve the ease of use, improve offering selections, improve clarity of their business, increase revenue, and improve perception. That's all a part of marketing. So if their customers are having a bad experience, there's difficulty in dealing with their processes, that will affect their sales. Even the way that you have a user process or your user experience is a part of marketing. When some companies actually use that as a selling point, look how easy it is to use our system. Look how simple our process is. That can be a feature, right? Because this is what today's buyers expect. They expect things to be one click away. They expect it only to take a few clicks. They do not want to have 10 clicks between them and what they're trying to do, right? They want to quickly move on. And that is something that we want to help our companies with as well, streamlining their processes, because at the end of the day, it'll improve their business and improve their bottom line. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And then here are some consulting tips. and be mindful of this. One of the things I always talk about is listening to the customer, but you have to be careful about how you are allowing your consult to be led. They cannot lead the consult because they will lead it right into a ditch. So this is what you have to keep in mind. Stay in control of the consult, okay? Let them know what you're going to talk about. Focus on the features. Focus on the features. Don't get sidetracked on the other things that the customer is talking about, because sometimes they can start talking about something that is completely irrelevant to their business. They can start talking about Trump in the middle of your consult. You need to be able to help them refocus on the features, but don't be a help desk, which is next. If they've had some trouble with the previous client, or they've had trouble with whatever, the consult is not the time to be their technical support. That is not your job. Focus on the experience. You are giving an experience with our company. Do you know that you don't have to remember everything about our company? You don't have to be the best salesman, but if they like your personality and you're really being you and they can feel that, if they like your energy, they will still want to work with us. You'll say, oh, well, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I'll find out. And they'll be okay with that because they like you. So this is also a part of really selling, is making them see who you are, because if they want to work with you, they'll want to work with us. No spec dumping. So though I want you to learn what our company is all about, I don't want you to spec dump. Don't start talking about technical stuff on the first meeting. This is about building rapport, not about showing how smart you are or how tech savvy you are. When you have to talk about specs, then you can talk about those things when it's necessary. Otherwise, you'll overwhelm people. No comparing. Don't try to compare us to any other marketing agency. Keep it positive. And finally, when in doubt, deflect. Deflect to the website. If they ask a question you don't know the answer to, say you can find out more about that at LeBeauProductions.com. That way, you don't promise something we don't do or confuse them, okay? All right, teach back. So now it's time, and I don't know if we have a Trello board for this. We possibly do have one. But teach back is, remember, when you guys educate each other and me. So basically, you all have your own expertise in different things that you're super smart in. And what I want you to do is submit your future micro lesson topics. I think that there is a Trello board for this with a list of topics we would like for different ones to teach on. However, you can also submit things that you would just like or don't mind teaching on. It can be just one topic. It doesn't have to be like 10 points on anything. So basically decide what your topic will be with a tagline, and you'll just talk about it for 6 minutes. This really helps just with all of us, our education and expanding our knowledge. So you're doing your team a favor by doing this. So for instance, if I was teaching on automation, I'd say automation, how to use Slack to streamline your team communication, right? So that's just one topic. I mentioned Slack, I mentioned a tool. You might want to mention a tool. And there's plenty of tools out there that you could educate us on that we may not be aware of. There's a ton of tools that we're not using that I would love to learn more about. For instance, Moz, Acadium, Favro, Keen.io, Earthlink, GraphicZoo, Outbound Engine, Social Bakers, ClearVoice. Like I have months and months of different apps and tools I would love to learn more about, but I just don't have the time. So that's something to work on. Now, on your proposal creation tips. So when you are creating your proposals this week, and remember your proposal is just you, based on the consultations you've had previously last week, you're coming up with a slide deck of what your strategy will be in the different components of it. So just some tips on creating that. Plan, which means design it, do, experiment, study, is PDSA, by the way. Study, measure the results, adjust, analyze results. So plan it and design it, your proposal. Do means put it out there. You're experimenting by showing the customer what your initial ideas are. Once you hear their feedback, though, you want to study what you put out there versus what actually made sense to them, and maybe you kind of went a direction that they weren't wanting to go in, and how did you miss that? Analyzing that, and finally adjust, fix the proposal so we can go back with it more tailored to what they actually want. Here's some words of wisdom. Focus on your customer, not the money. Empower them. Do not teach them tricks. Make them want to tell everyone about you. So on your consults this week, that's what you want to do. And not just your consults, but just in explaining who we are and what we do. Focus on them, not how much money they potentially could spend with us. Empower them with information. This is not about, here's a trick I can teach you. No, we teach long game. We teach people not hacks, but how to have a healthier marketing strategy, or a more comprehensive, practical marketing strategy that'll set them up for long-term success. You're not teaching them tricks, but make them want to tell everyone about you. And how will you do that? With your integrity. With your integrity, and really them walking away feeling like, wow, I could feel that guy really wanted to help me, or that lady really wanted to help me. That's when you've won someone over. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of people. So from our last semester, Muhammad and Abi. Now we had other great interns from last semester, but these are the two that have stayed on. And sometimes I do little shout outs like this, and I want to do it at a grander scale. Right now it's just on Instagram, but when I ask for your pictures, these are the types of things I have in mind. I want to show you off and show everyone who you are and why I recommend you, and the great things that you can do. So this is Muhammad that I've been telling you about. He's a third place at the AWS Deep Racer contest and winner of the Future CEO Award for Delta Sigma Pi 2018 through 2020. This is his philosophy on endurance. It took me 5 years, not 5 years, weeks, that was my mistake. 5 weeks. 5 weeks to make my first sale, but I started selling ever since. Never quit, no matter how hard it gets. You'll figure it out as long as you keep taking it one step at a time. This was his advice to you guys. So I wanted to go back to them and ask them, do you guys have any advice for the interns who are where you were last time? And finally, Abi. So he's a former member of the National Service Scheme and the Indian Society of Mechanical Engineers. This is his philosophy on failure. Work hard and do not fear failures. Never let failures hold you down. Failures are your feedback. You work hard, get feedback, and you work even harder to make it right. That's something that Abi learned as we were consulting. Remember what I said, adjust. Once you put the proposal out there and you see what the customer really wants and what their response is to your proposal, then you just make it right. And that's how you get your feedback, right? That's one thing that they talk about a lot at Facebook, is they don't call it feedback, they call it feed forward. And it's kind of like instead of looking at feedback as a negative term, looking at it as something that helps you to, get better. And that's how they try to use the verbiage to critique people. It's not necessarily to put them down. All right, so with that said, let's open up the chat box. Am I on the wrong chat box? Okay, let's see. Hold on 1 second. This computer is being slow, you guys. Did anybody say anything in the chat box? Because my thing is acting really weird. Okay, STEM. What is STEM? It's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it's just basically what their program is geared towards. It's a really big deal here. And there we go. It's a really big deal here. And what they're trying to do is kind of bring their philosophy to American schools. Well, not just American, just the world. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Sorry, can I? I wondered, how can I get the list of the tools that you were talking about, like the marketing tools?
I will basically type them up for you because it's just a bunch of notes. And I actually have like a little line about what they are. For instance, a Graphic Zoo, white label graphic design platform. And so I'll have all of those things listed. If Erica, you remind me to do it, I am going to work on it later today for you. All right.
Okay, thanks.
And anybody else with a question or comment?
So for the meeting with the teammates and doing the slides and presentation, for some of the team, there's just one person, so like that one person will create, will do everything. Okay.
Yeah, and I do encourage you guys that take a look at that document that Erica put up in announcements that shows who's on what team. Remember, I really encourage you to join multiple teams. A lot of these different teams and how quickly we move on them is going to be up in the air. Sometimes it's really slow on one team. You need to have another team you're working on or a couple of other teams or projects to keep yourself busy because it may be a week before you can do something on that team. And then what do you do? And then meanwhile, somebody could be needing your help on a different team. So especially those teams that only have one person, look and see if you might be interested in helping them out. Okay, anybody else? For the proposal, does everyone need to do it individually or just as a team? So if you have multiple people on your team, yes, you do it together. It's a joint effort. And you can kind of put the document in your Slack thread and you guys just edit it on your own time. Like you just go in, like sometimes I'll wake up in the later on in the day and I'll start working on something and I'll see that a B is working on it too at the same time. It's just, it doesn't have to be all at the same time, but I think you need to have at least one brainstorm meeting that you could just at least get your thoughts out, start on it, and just work on it for like an hour. And then from there, you can just go in and edit it throughout the week as you gain more information. You know, some people might get their stuff knocked out their one slide that they had to do to explain their part, their contribution. They just put it in there, and then other people take longer to gather more information or work on their part. So that's how that works. All right, and be sure to, when I do send that email, read it very closely. I'm gonna send the recording of this, and I'm going to send you the brand equity consult so you can look at them. But the other stuff, I'm saying something very important in there, and you need to pay attention to that because I don't want you working on the wrong thing this week. All right, anyone else have a question or comment? All right, Erica, did you have anything?
I just want to like say something about the schedule and success sheets. Well, like on the weekend, I was like summarizing everything, making a report for Miss Labu. So I just wanted like maybe you can change the file name. Well, I have put it in our announcement, so maybe you can look it up.
Okay, great. All right, thank you for that. And if no one else has any questions, just begin going through the announcements that Erica posted, and you can start working on things. And I'll try to get this to you guys as soon as possible. I do have early morning meetings on Monday. Sometimes it delays me on how fast I can get the email out to you. But yeah, and then also with the downloading of I have to wait for Zoom to process this video for recording, then download it, then upload it to YouTube before I can send everything. So you guys have a great week, and don't be shy about reaching out to us if you need us. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.